the weather forecast with Coloca in its multipurpose banquet hall, Il Palazzo.
Hi, ladies and gentlemen, and good to have you once more on the weather forecast. Hope you're having a beautiful evening. Between tonight and tomorrow morning, the weather will be calm in most parts of the country, with temperatures as low as 9 degrees. We're talking about the far north region, with the Adamawa, east and central regions having temperatures as low as 14 degrees. We'll also have as low as 12 degrees in the west region, with the southwest and south regions having temperatures as low as 19 degrees. Next, we go over to the north region, where tonight there is no chance of precipitation in the entire region, and same thing by morning, with the least temperature expected at Gidere. Next, we go over to the littoral region, where tonight we have no chance of rainfall, and same thing by morning, with the least temperature expected at Konsamba. And lastly, on to the northwest region tonight, we have no possibility of precipitation, and same experience by morning, with Fundong and Kumbo having the least temperature of 14 degrees. I encourage you to make our time and go discover the Mancon Museum in Bamenda. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.
182 men and women graduate in a solemn ceremony from the Combined Armed Services Military Academy, EMIA, with the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, Paul Biya, instructing them to defend their fatherland with honor, patriotism, and loyalty. Details of the ceremony in this newscast. President Paul Biya challenges the 182 cadet officers of the 37th batch of the Combined Services Military Academy to use the special keys obtained from the 36-month training to combat the new forms of insecurity in the east, far north, west, and southwest regions. Less than 24 hours to the kickoff of campaigns for the municipal and legislative elections on February 9, political parties fine-tune strategies with a reminder for campaigners to respect the provisions of the Electoral Code. Tonight, we bring you echoes of campaign preparations. Good evening and thanks for joining us on the 7:30 News. I'm Gladys Tata. President Paul Biya has urged newly graduating officers from the Combined Services Military Academy to be disciplined and remain loyal to the state institutions. The Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces was speaking today at the military headquarters, Brigade Yaoundé, as he presided at the graduation parade of 182 officers. We have the President's every moment today with Chief Unity Palace correspondent Ashun Yenti.
This outing to preside at the graduation parade of cadet officers of the Combined Services Military Academy is Paul Biya's first since the major national dialogue. But it is the 23rd time he is doing this. The Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces is conveyed to the headquarters brigade in a motorcade pulled by 24 motorcycle outriders in Type C honors. On arrival at the ceremonial plaza, the reviewing officer is welcomed by the minister delegate at the presidency in charge of defense, Joseph Betia Somo. After paying respects to the flag and national anthem, the commander-in-chief mounts aboard the command car to inspect the parade before settling down at the official stands where the other dignitaries had preceded him.
Aspirant de la promotion générale de division Koji Jacob. À genoux!
You cannot tell what is in the minds of these young soldiers, but they are clearly elated as the head of state proceeds to affix the epaulette of the best student in this batch, 25-year-old Ahmed Mefire. Back to his seat, the Commander-in-Chief watches with keen interest as Defense Ministry top brass do same to the rest of the young officers. In presenting his vision for the Army, President Paul Biya reviews the context of this ceremony, a context marked by security challenges, especially in the northwest and southwest regions, and that has led to increased criminal incidents despite calls and measures taken to bring back peace. But the President recounts that it is the determined action of the armed forces that has helped improve the security situation in those two regions. Because of the sacrifices the forces have made, the President has expressed to them the support of the entire nation and his personal esteem. To the new officers, the Commander-in-Chief recommends abnegation. He urges them to live up to the reputation of their baptismal name, Major General Koji Jacob, a recognition to a valiant soldier who died in battle. Paul Biya has commissioned the entire army to respect the human rights of all Cameroonians in their areas of operation. He then watches with admiration as the soldiers march in slow and quick time, paying appropriate compliments, a magnificent display that showcases the military's high sense of imagination, speedy reaction to new situations, and rapid transition from one operation to the other.
Your Excellency, Mr. President of the Republic, Head of State, commanding the armed forces. The entire troops were under the command of Colonel Onanambarga Oscar, commanding officer of Combined Services Military Academy, EMIA. At your orders, Your Excellency.
Upon his compliments to the parade commander, President Paul Biya shares in a common meal, during which he shakes hands with almost every guest present before the group photographs with the new officers, after which he sets out for home at the end of a day apparently fulfilled.
A day fulfilled indeed, Ashunenti. The triumph is a symbol of hard work, victory, and age-old Roman tradition that has been domesticated in Cameroon for its benefiting military relevance. Kilian Dandifon brings out the symbolic underpinnings in today's ceremony.
The fundamental law of Cameroon makes the solemn graduation of the students of the Combined Services Military Academy, EMIA, symbolic.
Constitutionally, the president is the only person that actually bestows on the cadet officer the epaulets of officers into defense forces. Being the commander-in-chief of the armed forces, he is the only one the cadet officer is expected to pay allegiance to.
Every activity of the laureates is full of symbolism, in line with their motto, honor and loyalty.
When the epaulets are being affixed on their shoulders, they have their knees on the ground, paying allegiance to the Commander-in-Chief of the Defense Forces and ready to serve the nation under the flag.
The appellation of the graduation as triumph itself is a historical symbol.
Triumph happens to be an ancient tradition that began in Rome, whereby military personnel in Rome returned from a battle, and their return was being considered victorious and triumphal. In our context, we talk of cadet officers triumphing from tedious training, from civilian life to active military lives as officers of the defense and security forces.
All these symbols around the event add up to give the seriousness and solemnity it carries.
During the graduation ceremony, President Paul Biya stated the support of the nation and his personal esteem to the defense forces. Ebenezer Kanga listened to the head of state and has the highlights of his address.
The head of state began by addressing the security situation of the country, which he said has come under serious threats these past years, with the Boko Haram insurgency in the far north, armed group attacks in the east, and separatist atrocities in the northwest and southwest regions. But the defense forces, he said, have made it possible to improve the situation. The head of state expressed optimism that the measures taken after the major national dialogue will bring normalcy to the restive English-speaking regions. To the graduating cadet officers, the commander-in-chief of the armed forces told them that their mission is to defend the country from external and internal threats. To accomplish this mission, they should be inspired by the late Major General Koji Jacob, who died on the war front against Boko Haram and after whom the batch has been christened. With the sound training they have received, the president told them to adapt to the security context of the country, marked by asymmetric warfare and cyber criminality. The president cautioned the young officers to respect human rights as they discharge their duties, to work with local authorities and the population as they protect the citizens and their properties, and to work in the footsteps of their elders who have kept the motto, honor and loyalty. The head of state stated the support of the nation and his personal esteem to the defense forces of the country.
The graduation ceremony of the 37th batch, Major General Koji Jacob, was also marked by the presence of numerous family members beaming with pride as their sons and daughters joined the ranks of officers of the Cameroon Defense Forces. The triumph, which is a solemn end of training ceremony for each graduating batch of EMIA, was also experienced by these families as a victory over 3 years of numerous sacrifices. Cynthia Saptala talked with some of the families of 182 and now reports.
Countless smiles lighted up the esplanade of the Military Headquarters Brigade in Yaoundé. For family and friends present, the graduation from cadet officers to officers meant a triumph over 3 years of challenges.
He went through tough times and it affected the family so much. We were stressed up because sometimes we used to see the type of training they're going through. We see the type of hills they're climbing. We had never known that we can ever be here, but we are so happy.
These 182 graduating officers went through hurdles of all kinds while their families bore the weight of their sacrifice.
We really thank God for keeping us alive to see this day, though we have gone through so much stress.
The Tamunjong family, for example, knew exactly what the training at the Combined Military Services Academy will be, and despite their confidence, remained worried.
Some sort of a success story for the family. That have one of us graduating from the military school, where I also left 37 years ago. The training in the military academy has always been very hard. Not everybody who enters EMIA goes out of EMIA.
It's a blessing to me to see my grandchild graduate from EMIA.
The success of these officers is the success of 182 families who now can pride themselves of having provided capable soldiers to defend the nation.
As the years go by, the barriers to women's participation in the military are being demolished. This year, 20% of the cadet officers who graduated from the Combined Services Military Academy were women. The country is gradually getting a good scorecard on feminizing its military. Beatrice Losamba tells us more.
The triumph of these stars of the day, the triumphant march of women in the military corps, changes in the air as many more get their feet in the door.
What does it mean to this military? I would say it has to do with my character. I used to love harshly, but maybe not say harsh, but tough. Yeah, so I felt like that's my place.
Two ladies feature among the first 5 cadet officers of the 37th batch of the Combined Services Military Academy, which caps the number of females at 20% this year. The opening shot in this rise is a system which consistently insists on equal rights for men and women.
The army is open both genders. There is no specific, but everyone, Cameroonian who want to get in, has to fulfill the conditions.
Not avoiding to go where the bullets are, the female service personnel is allowed to play same roles in the military as men, like flying a combat aircraft and participating in ground operations, although sometimes deployable within limits.
If the young woman has a problem, let's say a biological problem, we will take it in account.
But that does not mean there are limits to what they can do on the job. Women's presence in the military has always been an expensive carriage, and the government of Cameroon gets a good scorecard for regendering the sector, demolishing barriers.
And on to other news, and this obituary, a Form 5 student of Government Bilingual High School, Collecton Yaoundé, passed away today. The sad incident, according to the school authorities, happened while the deceased was attending sports practical lessons. Our reporter Joyce Tata was at the scene of the incident and tells us more in this report.
They wail at the loss of Diaz. Cabrel Lekefak passes out during physical education due to respiratory problems, and every attempt to resuscitate him is unsuccessful. The shock, too much to fathom.
Ils ont paniqué, c'est vrai.
It was a tough situation here as the incident caused panic among the students. Some collapsed and were rushed to the hospital, but their situation is stable. We had to suspend afternoon classes today so that we could work on how to psychologically handle the students so that classes resume effectively on Monday.
Upset about the demise of their classmates, the students began vandalizing the school infirmary. The divisional officer of Yaoundé 1, Thierry Cosmas Nama, is called to put in order at the government bilingual high school Coleton. After this, time to calm down the spirits of the students.
On vous apprend ça à l'école, n'est-ce pas? Qu'on naît, on vit et on meurt. Donc c'est le cours normal de la vie. Il ne faut pas vous agiter.
The remains of Cabrel Lekefak, Form 5 student of GBHS Coleton, has been kept at the Ekunu Military Hospital mortuary in Yaoundé, as further investigations have been opened to find out the actual cause of the 17-year-old's demise.
What a sad story indeed. And on to politics, political parties are explaining diverse tools and strategies on the eve of campaigns to woo voters. From door to door, the use of social media to printing gadgets, every means to get to the potential voters is being explored. Emanuela Vemnoi tells us more.
It has started making noise on the web. Facebook, YouTube, WhatsApp, and other social networking sites now carry different campaign strategies for their different candidates. CPNR, SDF, CPD, and PADEC, and more are exploring these means of communication to reach their target voters. If the concerned are in calling on voters to express their rights on February 9, then they are simply presenting their candidates as ideal. Away from the web is the real thing. Campaign gadgets in the likes of T-shirts, fabrics, banners, posters, and more are being made ready at the different headquarters of political parties in Yaoundé.
We have made sure that all our posters are printed. All our posters have been printed, all our ballot cards being shared, and T-shirts as well being printed. And we've also made sure that our social network is well loaded with as much information as possible.
From combing media houses to using gadgets and social media, then door to door, the main aim is to convince voters to cast their ballots in favor of their candidates on February 9, 2020. This especially as campaigns take off in few hours.
A day to the kickoff of the electoral campaigns, political parties are getting ready at their different headquarters. But in the midst of preparations, they must breach the rules. They must equally respect the provisions of the Electoral Code, which sets the record straight with regard to the printing of posters, organization of campaign, among others. Beatrice Ngum tells us more in the following report.
The Electoral Code is clear on certain measures.
What does the Electoral Code say about campaign gadgets?
Party circulars, posters, and party manifestos are to be printed at the expense of candidates or the party. The gadgets should carry the color chosen by the candidate, bear the initials chosen for printing the ballot papers, and the maximum size of the posters is determined by the Director General of Elections Cameroon. Signed duplicates of the gadgets are to be submitted to Elections Cameroon for endorsement. Elections Cameroon, like council authorities, also have the duty to create space for candidates to display their campaign material.
And what about the organization of meetings?
Section 93 authorizes parties or candidates to organize meetings, but only after administrative authorities and an Elekam branch have approved their request, which must carry the time and venue of the meeting.
The parties also have restrictions.
Of course, no public display of gadgets is accepted outside the authorized space or in places open to the public or on private premises, except done by the owners. Candidates are not to post their campaign material on panels reserved for other candidates or parties, and gadgets unlawfully displayed shall be pulled off on instructions of Elekam.
Can ballot papers and other gadgets freely circulate on elections day?
Ballot papers, circulars, like every other campaign material, is forbidden on elections day.
What about the organization of meetings?
Meetings can be rescheduled to a later date if public law and order is threatened, likewise are not to be held on the highway.
And this communique just coming in, the Director General of CRTV hereby invites all communication officers of political parties running for the twin election of 9 February 2020 to a consultative meeting on Saturday, 25th of January 2020. That is tomorrow at 11 a.m. in Studio 1 at the Production Center here in Balato. Considering the importance of the agenda, the presence of all is highly solicited. And this communique has been signed by the Director General, Charles Ndongo. The Secretary General of the CPDM Central Committee and President of the National Campaign Commission of the party, Jean Kwete, has said the party must record a 100% win in the West region after the February 9, 2020 legislative and municipal elections. He was speaking Thursday in Bafoussam in a meeting to prepare the stage for the campaign. Chanceline Nanze tells us more from CRTV West in Bafoussam.
34 out of the 40 councils in the West region are currently run by CPDM maize, while 20 of the 25 parliamentarians from the region are of the CPDM. The goal of the party is to sweep all the councils and parliamentary seats after the February 19 elections, reason why the president of the Regional Campaign Commission, Sultan Ibrahim Bombonjoya, organized the meeting to strategize on rigorous and effective campaign methods. According to Sultan Ibrahim Bombonjoya, the best way to guarantee their national president, Paul Biya, that they are behind him during this mandate of greater opportunities is to secure an absolute majority in the parliament. Same message reiterated by the Secretary General of the CPDM Central Committee and National President of the Campaign Commission, Jean Kwete, who called on the different candidates to be worthy ambassadors of the party and ensure that they reach out to all the grassroots supporters come Saturday when campaigns are launched. Some representatives of the West Regional Branch of the UPC that were present at the Bafoussam Party House said they will not heed to calls for boycott and promise to give their 100% support to CPDM candidates in the region. It is now left for the flag bearers of the party to go to work once the ball is set rolling on Saturday.
And we take you over to the littoral region, where the CPDM party in the Mungo division has an ambition to win all the 13 councils and parliamentary seats in the February 9 municipal and legislative elections. Senator Siegfried David Etame Masoma, representative of the party's permanent departmental delegate, and Minister Lejeune Mbelambela held a meeting in Konsamba to devise the party's campaign strategy build-up to the twin elections. Abongwa Alphonse Achu reports from Douala.
The political match in the Mungo division is not going to be smooth at all for the CPDM party in the February 9 twin elections. In total, 6 opposition parties will be facing the CPDM in the entire division, both for the municipal and legislative polls. Only 2 of the 13 councils in the division are totally controlled by the ruling party, while the Lum, Njombe Penja and the Bombari councils are all in the hands of the opposition. The rest are shared between the CPDM and the opposition. The meeting in Kongsamba, presided over by Senator Siegfried Etame Masoma, representative of the CPDM permanent delegate for the Mungo, Minister Lejeune Mbelambela, was intended to present the party's campaign strategy, raise funds, as well as give the recommendations from hierarchy on the conduct of the election. One major goal out of this meeting: secure total victory for all 6 parliamentary seats in the Mungo North and South constituency, as well as the CPDM list in all 13 councils. The party's representatives for both elections, as well as the campaign team leads, were presented to the assembly and told to cooperate and watch out for mischief when hostilities are launched come January 25. The party's campaign will be launched in 2 localities on Saturday, in Kongsamba and Banga respectively.
Muslim faithful have organized a prayer for the smooth running of the legislative and municipal elections in Cameroon. The prayer, conducted by Imam Muhammad Sanimu, held at the Yaoundé Central Mosque, as Alice Mbe reports.
About 1,000 Muslims gathered at the Yaoundé Central Mosque to offer prayers for peace to reign in the country during the twin legislative and municipal elections.
The community of Muslims Yaoundé too, to pray God to say that when the election are going to begin, the peace are going to stay in Cameroon. After and before the election, our people who stay in the northwest and southwest, we are pray God to say that we want peace in Cameroon.
The message preached by the Imam of the Yaoundé Central Mosque, Muhammad Saminu, focused on the spiritual state of mankind towards peace, love, and unity.
Safety, security for our country, Cameroon. All believers are citizens of our country. Everybody must go the 9th of February 2020 to cast his vote.
It was an occasion for Imam Muhammad Saminu to pray against tribalism and corruption in the country. He urged parents to educate their children at home and called on Allah to grant them and all students wisdom, love, and stability. He added that those who have not yet collected their voters' cards should do so and should go out and vote as good citizens.
This weekend's cultural package will be spiced with concerts and film projections taking place in Yaoundé and Douala. Rising stars Sisul and Robinho Mundibu, Congolese singers, will thrill the public. The film Manhattan Lockdown is also on the menu. More on this weekend's cultural agenda with Natasha Lehman-Losha.
We open the weekend's cultural page with a live concert performed by Rising Star, winner of the 2017 RFI Discovery Prize, Sisul, at the French Institute of Yaoundé. Robinho Mundibu, Congolese singer, will perform tonight at the Sanza nightclub in Yaoundé. Still in music, three Bikutsi artists, Atebas, Syriac Delay, and Bimas Bizu, are promising to hold the public spellbound throughout the weekend. The show, to take place at the Bantu Club Cabaret in the Mombon neighborhood, starts at 11 p.m. In cinema, the American action comedy film titled Bad Boys for Life, directed by Alzil Albi and Bilal Fallah, will be premiered at the Canal Olympia Hall in Yaoundé as from 8 p.m. Another film, Manhattan Lockdown, will be projected on Sunday this time at the Canal Olympia Hall of Douala as from 5 p.m.
Si tu fais le mal, tremble. Deux tireurs qui ont de l'entraînement.
Les Incognitos, produced by Nick Bruno, also be screened this Sunday at the French Institute of Yaoundé, time 4:30 p.m. That's the entertainment package for this weekend. Go out and have fun.
Oh, je hausse le ton là. Je devrais probablement pas hausser le ton.
There are equally lots of sports events to keep an eye on this weekend. The Intermediate Lions have their first international match this weekend, while Tropical Amisa Bongo Cycling Tour rounds off. Daniel Ekonde has more in this report.
The weekend opens with a General Assembly of the Cameroon Football Federation, FECAFOOT. The event is scheduled at 10 a.m. this Friday in Yaoundé. The running of the Elite 1 and 2 championships is expected to be on the table. Then on Saturday, Cameroon's domestic Lions will have their first international friendly match in the lead-up to football's African Nations Championship in April. They will slug it out with Chad at 3 p.m. at the Amadou Ahidjo Stadium. Turning to the south is the 2020 Tropical Amisa Bongo Cycling Tour. The competition will wrap up this Sunday with the last lap to be run from Cork to Libreville, Gabon. The distance is 120 kilometers. Eritrean Binyam Gime holds the yellow jersey. There will also be some handball to watch this weekend as the 2020 African Men's Handball Championship narrows down to an end in Tunisia. Egypt take on Algeria and Tunisia match up Angola in the semi-finals. The final comes up this Sunday. And match day 21 of Francis League Eng is up this weekend. Indomitable Lions, Carl Toko Ikambi, Stefan Bauken and Eric Maxim Choupo-Moting will be in action with their clubs.
182 men and women graduate in a solemn ceremony. And with this report, we draw the curtains of the 7:30 news. Thanks for watching. The news in French comes up at 8:30 with Atta Badine Umar. I'll be here tomorrow, same time. Until then, keep on enjoying programs on the CRTV. Good night.